Hey partners, it's Today I Grew Up here. I'm really excited today because we have one of my favorite YouTubers of all time, JP and Beyond, Jonathan and Jesse.
Hello.
You're watching Today I Grew Up.
Hey partners, most of my views come from non-subscribers, so please consider subscribing today, hit that alert so you'll be notified for future videos. It helps me as I'm on my way to 100,000 subs this year. Really appreciate it.
Hey partners, it's Today I Grew Up here. I'm really excited today because we have one of my favorite YouTubers of all time, JP and Beyond, Jonathan and Jesse.
Hello.
Hi guys,
Hi.
how you guys doing?
We're doing just great. Great, yes.
Great.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
I definitely want to say right off the gate, I get comments every day of people asking me, hey, do you know JP and Beyond? Have you ever collabed with them? Like, I'm always getting questions about live action Toy Story. Hey, did you see those guys? Even on TikTok the other day, they're like, there's some guys who made the whole live action Toy Story 1. Do you know about that? It's like, so it's kind of like, even though you guys created something 8 years ago, and we're going to get into all that, does it ever blow your mind that to this day you may be recognized, or have you ever been recognized for being like, hey, aren't you the guys from the live action Toy Story? If you guys can dive into that, do you guys ever get recognized? And also, are you guys surprised that you guys are still known for that or noticed for that, I guess?
I've never been recognized
on the street.
Yeah,
People stop you all the time.
By my face. No, not by my face, but by but I've had people where I've mentioned the movie and and they already knew it.
They're like, oh yeah,
yeah. In fact, like one of my best friends, she, when we were like first getting to know each other and just texted one day, and I forgot how it came up, but whatever, I mentioned about it, and then she was like, "What, you made that movie?" And it was really cool. I was like, "Oh wow, yeah, I did." But not by my face, only because really,
I see your face in the movie.
Our face isn't in the movie, so
my face isn't in that movie.
Yeah.
Only the true fans that know more about us would recognize us.
That's funny.
So the video has amassed 37 million views. I just checked, and you guys are over 174,000 subscribers. So congratulations on all that success.
Thank you.
I was even looking at your total views. You have over 105 million views. So it's kind of like, it's insane to think like, okay, you put out something like live action Toy Story, but then you didn't stop there and you continue to create content, and now you've kind of amassed an audience and all these views. Like, how do you guys feel about that? Do you guys feel like it's a lot of pressure to perform for future videos, or is it more like, oh yeah, whatever, it is what it is?
Now that you mentioned it, now I'm under pressure. Well, as you're saying that, no, I think it's funny because, like, sure, we might be well known, but it's in very specific circles.
Yeah.
The niche, the Toy Story niche. That's why people are asking you, because you've jumped into that niche too.
Yeah.
And so, like, what we're doing now is, it's not blowing up like Toy Story did.
Right.
But there are people who've started with Toy Story and found that, oh, I'm enjoying the stuff that they're making, which sometimes is related to Toy Story, but sometimes it's not. I will say though that in all of our short films, we'll hide some Toy Story thing in it.
Pretty much.
I mean,
so the Pizza Planet truck is.
It's
if you got a Pizza Planet truck, of course you're gonna.
It's like a little Easter egg.
Yeah, like, I mean, we could have gone, I guess, more of like the easy route and kept going with like the things that people.
Let's remake more Pixar.
Yeah, everything Pixar stuff.
Disney.
I saw a comment the other day on our latest video with my Beanie Babies, and someone's like, live action Toy Story 2, please. I'm like, 8 years later,
you can't come up and order something. This isn't a menu. It did make a big impact, and I'm totally glad we did it. And being the Toy Story guy isn't the worst thing. It's actually great.
That's awesome.
But
also, I don't feel the pressure to have to keep, we're making what we want to make, and and I'm having fun with it. So
I was just gonna say, that's just the best approach. And I'm always on here trying to, motivate, influence, a lot of my audience. I'm telling them, hey, you can do anything you want to do. It's just how hard are you willing to work? Dream big, put your mind to it, and don't give up. You can accomplish anything. And so I think you guys are testament to something like that, because committing to a whole length movie like live action Toy Story 1, that was a huge commitment, especially for you guys, because this was 8 years ago. How old were you guys then when that started? And like, what was that process, and who actually came up with the original idea? Like, I'm going to do this.
That's a good question.
So it was basically 10 years ago.
10 years ago we started.
Yeah, I was 19.
Yeah,
right.
And I was 18, I guess, turning 18 that year.
Wow.
And we were hanging out after church, hanging out and chatting, and I got the bucket of soldiers from his brother. He's like, I got a new one. It's better. It's more like the movie. You can have this old one.
Yeah.
And we were just like playing with it and saying like we should do that stop motion scene, the birthday party scene. And it's like, well, that's not my favorite scene. It's a good one, but like, what's my favorite scene? I don't know, probably all of it. You know, it's like, so we just agreed, like
it just started happening right there during that lunch, just like
that's awesome. So it sparked the idea, and then boom, it started happening.
And we hadn't really done that much together before then. We had made like 2 or 3 little things.
Videos. I helped you with a couple things you made for school, right?
Right. Yeah. So my high school video class, I had a few projects that Jesse helped with, and then made a couple little musical cues for some things that I was doing, but we hadn't really done anything like that. But we thought, why not? I also thought it would take like a month. But then I also wasn't thinking like, oh, we have to get everything right. It was like, no, we have to get the scenes right, the characters.
And then I came back after watching the movie, like, here's the list of every single thing we need.
Like, so I was wrong. We are doing everything. If it was just me by myself, it probably could have got done in a month. I'm not saying I could do it by myself in a month. I'm just saying like it wouldn't have been every detail and everything like as close as it ended up being. Any kind of compromise in the movie is because I was pushing for it.
right.
Because I'm kind of more the like efficiency kind of thing, and Jesse's like the excellence kind of thing. The details.
We kind of balance each other out.
Yeah,
it's good.
See, that's a good thing. It's kind of like you have to have that tug and pull, and 2 brains are better than one. I really think that was probably really helpful for you guys. And then in editing, what I look at that, I'm like, that looked like an editing nightmare. Like, how long did it actually take to edit the whole thing? Or did you guys just edit in sections and then shoot and then edit? Or how did that process look like?
Yeah, I was editing as we went along. And it actually it's sort of different than like right now you're editing our newest short film. It's totally different because with our Toy Story movie, I had the original right there. I threw it in the timeline, and it's more like a puzzle. It's like, okay, this piece is missing. We have to make it, and then here it goes. You know, there was no deciding what is going to happen next or how long should the shot be. No, it's just what is the best take, and that's the one, and that's where it goes.
What are you guys up to now? You guys have done a lot on your channel. Is there something that you're more committing to now to do, or are you going to continue variety content? Just really curious.
We've gone through a lot of seasons of our channel. There were times when there wasn't a lot coming out, and that's because there was a lot of life going on. When I was in school, I lived 2 hours away from Jesse, and we still talked, and he still came up a few times. We made stuff then, but it was very sporadic. But when my wife and I ended up moving back down to the valley, Phoenix Valley, it's like, well, I guess we're gonna pick up and run with what we want to do next. So there's seasons. There's like, you could tell we started a new. Well, I guess it wasn't totally new. The JP Squared talk show was something that's like, I want to start doing stuff consistently. That's YouTube. They always talk about consistency, and you have to, it really is a game of like, are you going to do something and stick to it, and how long, and take the things that work and do it again. So it's like, for a while we played that game, and then it's like, well, this is what we like doing.
Right.
Let's go towards that, even though that's not exactly like playing the YouTube game the right way necessarily. It's more what we liked. And so we'll go that direction.
Which the thing that we really like is just making original short films. So anytime you made one of those, it was just like, it was just a different vibe, and it was, we really enjoyed doing that. I mean, we love doing our talk shows too, and those are, easier to put out a little quicker. So, but it was like, when we took a break from that to make a film, it was like more of a special treat. And it was, and we knew, okay, this is really the thing we really like doing the most, is writing scripts, writing a movie, and and actually acting, not just, talking.
This last, I guess you could say, season of the channel has been, we're trying to do more short films, and 2020 didn't make that possible, but we did do one.
Nice. Very cool.
And try to put them out into a festival. or somewhere, just to a different group. Like, yeah, you guys are coming here because you like what we do. We love that. We want to keep putting them on YouTube, but also like, let's see what, you know, what we're up against in a film industry kind of things.
In the last couple of years, is when we started doing film festivals for the first time, like a month-long film challenge or a 72-hour challenge. And then you premiere the movies at an actual movie theater. And so once we got the feeling of that, that's kind of been the new thing that we, you know, of course we still love our YouTube channel, but we definitely have gotten a taste for, like, you know, actual, you know, like the
independent film
crowd. That
kind
of crowd.
I really love being able to see it in a theater and see it with an audience. Like with YouTube, it's like,
really
okay,
cool.
It's out there. It's like, did people like it? I guess
we do always do like a live premiere when we do our YouTube videos, just to have a little something interaction with audience.
Right.
But watching it with a group is
nothing quite like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like,
totally.
You get to hear what jokes work and which ones don't right away. Instant feedback.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I really appreciate all that feedback. It's really helpful for the audience to hear, who might be interested in filmmaking or making short films or being a YouTuber in general. And I think that YouTube game, when you said about the YouTube game, 100% true. You know, they always say consistency, but consistency could lead to burnout, especially if you're doing something you might not fully want to do. You know what I mean? It's like if you get stuck in something, but then you're getting rewarded for it, but then it's not something authentic, then it's probably not the best route to go, you know? And I have to remind people of that. And also just going into something you're passionate about, like the short films that you guys are making, that's really awesome, because it's like you're finally doing something you've always wanted to do with all of this. Like this was the goal for you guys, or you figured out, hey, I want to do this right now, and maybe that'll change in the future, right?
I mean, exactly. You know, people change and interests change. So again, we might end up doing something different. We might not stick with the short films and festivals route. You know, it's more just about, are we continuing to do stuff that we enjoy doing, and are there other people who like it too? With YouTube, like, yeah, we love Toy Story,
right?
But it's something that's like, we love the characters and the story more so than like something that we could keep up with,
right?
Like current stuff, new things coming out. It's like what you're doing is that you always have to be on top of it,
right?
And it's like, oh, I didn't actually hear about that. Like,
right. It's constant research.
People are coming to me. Right. Yeah. You have to stay on top of it. And so what I'd say, like, if somebody was out there thinking they want to do a YouTube channel, whether it's about Toy Story or Pixar or Disney or something else, something that you're really interested in, combine it with something else you're really interested in. Because then you can go back and forth to one or the other. And that's sort of what we've been doing with, like, sometimes we'll go back to Toy Story stuff, and then sometimes we'll go more towards film stuff.
And
comedy,
and that's it's so true. And that's the thing. I'm riding on a wave of what I do, and I'm really passionate about what I do, and I love it. But at the same time, and I think in my mind, hey, what about 5-10 years from now? I might want to do short films too. I might want to do actually full-length movies, maybe. So sky's the limit. I always tell people, like, you can live multiple lifetimes in one lifetime if you plan it out, and just go for it. And I think fear holds people back, and it's nice to see people like yourselves who are driven and are like just doing it, and you're like, hey, we're gonna find an audience, and if we don't, we're doing what we love, and that's good enough. And I think that's really, really cool, and it talks a lot about your guys' authenticity and character. So I really love that. I'm really excited for, like, some of the projects you have coming up. Are you guys working on an active script right now? Like, how does that work for you guys with, like, the script writing process, video ideas or movie ideas? How do you guys organize and, like, make us all work, I guess? And what's your goals, with that?
So I'm in the middle. Well, we're still in the middle of working on a short film. And so we've already filmed like almost half of it. And that one, or really most of them, I mean, when we're ready to, like, start writing, I'll just come over, or you'll come over to my place, and then we just kind of like, we just kind of sit and just kind of start going. Like,
one of my a few of my classes in school was for screenwriting. So I always thought, before I went to school studying film stuff, I was like, I don't really like writing. I like just jumping in and, like, we'll make it up as we go. And a lot of our
cool.
short films at the beginning are that.
Nice.
Yeah, in the early days, like that's really what it was. If you watch like some of our oldest short films, was just we just start going, and then like, all right, now
then what happens?
Like,
nice.
How
nice.
should what's a funny way this character reacts to that? Okay, let's film it. And then like, all right, we just kind of did like, all right, naturally, like what would happen next? And then,
which worked totally fine for us for a while, but once you start including other people in it, you can't do that. It doesn't work so well. And I found out through those classes that I actually do like writing, because it's not like writing an essay or something where it's like you have to hit these points or whatever. It's just people talk differently than what you read like in a novel or an essay. So a screenplay can be just like conversations with people. It's just a matter of knowing the format and getting it out there so that other people can read it and understand it. So I don't mind writing when it's the way that people actually talk. If it were like to write something like a novel or something, I think I'd be totally lost. But so nowadays, Jesse mentioned the contests we've been a part of. And I think that's a good way to start, because then you get a prompt. A lot of them out there, there's tons of them across the country, but they give you either a line or a prop or something to include. So that gives us a starting point, and then we'll individually maybe come up with a few ideas, and then we'll come together and pick which one we want to tackle.
Sometimes like Jonathan will kind of write a draft and then send it over to me, and then I fix everything.
I know this in songwriting. I'll write a song, think it in my head, write it down, and then I actually play it out loud, and I'm like, that's totally different than what I thought. And so tell me about your creative process. Do you guys ever envision things like that? Have you started projects where you're like, man, this is just not like it was in my head?
Get a place to write down your ideas, because sometimes when it's on the spot, like come up with something, it's like, oh, I don't know. But if you have a list of stuff that you've thought of before, then you can go back and that'll refresh. And my book that I have of ideas, the first thing on there was a live action Toy Story remake. So I checked that one off. But there's, it's anything, even if it's a bad idea, put it down. And then for now, our process has been a lot of some of them I've thought of for a while, and then it just seemed like this one could be a fit for what we're ready to do next. And then others, it's like the one we're working on now, it was, I want to work with these people. So what's a script I could have 5 people in it at a time, right? So it's
right. So I want to segue back into Toy Story a little bit. Tell me your guys' thoughts on the franchise. How do you view it? And what are your kind of like your favorites, if you had to put in order? Okay.
I mean, for me, it's I've gone back and forth a lot on 1 and 2. Like sometimes I'm like, it's just they're just even. They're on the exact same. And then sometimes I'll say I actually do like 2 a little more. And then like it's never been very consistent. But they're just both so perfect. I just like so there's basically a tie, and then 3 is like just under there.
Yeah. And then 4 is way over. Yeah, we could. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
I'd agree. Okay.
I mean, I love the franchise, and the first like 3 movies. I mean, is you can't have a more perfect trilogy. Just absolutely perfect. The short films that came out after Toy Story 3, I enjoy those. Like they're fun. And, I love the character so much. You put the character in anything, I'll watch it, and and I always get some enjoyment. To me, like the short films and stuff, they didn't add a whole lot more to the franchise. Like you could do with or without them.
Right.
But they're pretty much I mean, maybe besides the Toy Story that time forgot.
Yeah.
That one is like, but yeah. And then Toy Story 4 came and just,
I'll break the ice on that. Toy Story 4 is definitely one of those things. It's kind of like, I look at Toy Story like this legacy, like Star Wars world, right? And Star Wars, it's this legacy. And whenever people come in, they do these different things. There's always like that rift, right? So you have like the old school fans, and then you have the new school fans. And then there's like the middle group that's like, oh, I like everything. So I kind of look at Toy Story that way.
I'd to piggyback off your Star Wars comment. There's a Star Wars reference in each first 3 Toy Story movies that connect it to A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi.
You're right.
So they coincide, and I think that's super cool. And then I think 4 indirectly coincides with Phantom Menace. It's just like out there. It's like, you know what? That's a thing. It's
yeah.
a thing.
Did you guys catch the Star Wars action figures in Toy Story 4?
Yeah,
They put in the background. Yeah, there's a little Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, the dude, his arms get cut off.
Yeah,
yes.
his arm gets cut
the
off.
Scene from
Yeah.
They're doing that same scene with toys in the background. Yeah.
That's what's really cool about it. It's like it's almost like there's always the Star Wars thrown in there, which is really cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's built that legacy. And you know, Disney at this point is making $1 billion per film since Toy Story 3. So it kind of makes sense that they will probably make a 5, which is kind of insane to think about. But for now, we got teased with the Lightyear movie with we have Chris Evans, you know, voicing the Buzz Lightyear human in Andy's World.
Human Buzz Lightyear.
What are your guys' thoughts on that movie coming up, that upcoming film?
I don't want to give them too many ideas. They'll just like.
You're right. Maybe we shouldn't say that. Actually, I remember you guys talking one time, and you're like, "Hey, I came up with this idea, and we put it out there, and then we saw someone copy it. Has that ever happened to you guys?" Like,
that's funny. It's sort of a joke.
Kind of.
I want to hear
the whole video about that. I mean, I think you had more than I did. I didn't really have any good ones.
It was more of a joke, and we made a JP Squared episode about that. So
nice. So go check that out on
JP
and Beyond on their YouTube channel.
I don't remember what it's called. Disney stole our ideas. Something like that. Something like that.
That's great. That's awesome.
But yeah, I think as far as Lightyear, at first I was super duper angry. Like, how could they? That's Tim Allen. Like, it should be him. It makes sense. But now it's like I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be good. I have no idea what to expect. I'm also confused. Is this Buzz Lightyear character supposed to be a real astronaut in the Toy Story world? Like, he actually went to space, or is it like the equivalent of like Andy would have gone and watched this movie?
I feel like that's what they're doing.
Because
this is the movie that the toy is based off of.
So like this existed before Toy Story 1 happened. Andy, as a 5-year-old, might have seen it and wanted a Buzz Lightyear.
I think that'd be the fun way to do it.
Yeah. I think the end, and this is the idea that Pixar can steal, the end should be credits, and then after the credits or mid-credits is you see an audience of people standing up and leaving. Like, it's like, are we looking at a mirror right now? It's like the theater going back up into, so it's like, are we looking at a mirror right now? And then it goes in on Andy and his mom getting up and walking out. And then Andy realized, oh wait, I left Woody there in the seat. Like, just a hint, like, oh, he's already into Buzz and he's gonna forget Woody in the theater already. So
that's funny.
That would have been that's
genius. Yeah, you're right. You should probably stop asking these questions because they're gonna steal it. But
that'd be okay. Just I mean, you don't have to give me credit. I'll take credit myself. We'll make a video about it.
Right. That's awesome. So that's so great. I really feel like, you know, the Toy Story 4, they dropped the ball with some other character developments or storytelling. But at the same time, it's just so interesting to see what a team of writers can do and how they can steer things. Whether we like the actual philosophical point or the end of the story, but it's just always interesting to me, just that process, because making these Toy Story films take 8 years or whatever, or, you know, they take years and years and years. And it makes sense because of the animation and, you know, the voice acting and this. Yeah. So I can't even imagine the process, and they probably have a team of 1,000 people, but you know, so when you guys are like a team of 2 coming together, it's just really impressive that you guys are able to accomplish those things. Can you guys tell me the difference between a short film and a long film, and what's kind of like the rules with like what's considered a short film for time and what's considered like, I guess, a full-length film for time?
I think the actual cutoff is, I mean, I think a short film is up to like less 45 minutes 60 or something.
Yeah, like if it's 60 minutes, it's just considered a feature. Like Dumbo is only 60 minutes long.
Right, it's true.
But like
I mean, 45 minutes, that's like a TV show now. Most of our stuff is more like 7. Yeah, which there is a word for that, right? Like a micro film, micro short or something. If you want to get more specific.
Yeah. It's funny because there's also sketches, which is they're popular on YouTube and other places. But those, I think the difference is the
intended audience.
Yeah, intended audience, but the scale of it. You know, how much production value is there?
Yeah,
or is it just like we're just going to act something out that's fun, and ours kind of walk the line.
Sky's the limit, really, in the creation process. And I feel like, you know, imagine coming up. I think I talked to you briefly when we had lunch that one time, Jonathan, when we were talking about, you know, how much work it is to do like a show, right, or like a sitcom, and it's just like that's a lot of commitment because it's like a machine. And then you get roped into that machine, and it's just like, well, where is this going? Because then it's like a story that's evolving and it just like keeps going and going like a river. Do you guys ever, are you ever like afraid of things like that where you're just like, maybe I shouldn't start that because I'm gonna be stuck into that rut of like, I have to make this now?
Not really. I mean, there's things that I would love to get started on that I know I would want to continue.
Right.
And for me, the thing that's more stopping me is just like, I don't know if it's more like, are we ready to start doing that? Or,
right.
Or I just start over analyzing, like, like, oh no, it's got to be perfect before, it even like starts. Right. And then I just like never really get started because I'm like, I can't see it all yet. Like everything I need to get all this stuff. Right. I don't know, things like that.
Sure.
See, the therapist in me wants to bring this up because it's literally something that I always see as a stumbling block for creators out there. They're too focused on the end picture, the end result, that they're like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. Or they look at it and be like, I just can't start that. Or they look at something and they have something that just blocks them from doing it because it's like, well, it needs to be perfect. And if it's not going to be perfect, then I can't put it out there. So it's like, it's kind of like I'm trying to help people like get over that fear. And do you guys even still experience that? Are you guys pretty confident when you go into something, or just tell me a little bit about, how you approach things in that fashion, I guess you can say, to help people.
Fake it until you make it, man. No,
that's good too.
I think what we're working on now is a good example because like, Jesse wants to make a show. I would love to be a part of it. I'd like to make a feature movie. And of course, Jesse will have a part in that when it happens. It's like, we just need to take other steps first. So it's like, I need to work with a bigger team and, practice directing a bigger team. We need to get people in the place that they're best, skilled and talented. So it's like, I can be okay saying like, I'm not the best camera person ever. So let's get somebody who is, and we can work with them. So we're taking steps towards that. Right. It's not like, let's write something right now, which, you can also get started. And then when you get, like Jesse said, to that point when you feel like you're a little closer to being ready, then just do it. But take steps. And if you look back, like we haven't deleted anything off of the channel. I mean, that's not true. I deleted one thing off the channel.
Really? Oh, what did you do? What did you delete and why? Can you say that?
Yeah, I can. I guess I'll finish my first point first.
Yeah, sure.
You can go back on JP and Beyond and scroll to the stuff that I did before I knew Jesse. It's, how old was I then? Like 14 or 13. And I was confident in my ability at that point. It's like, I wasn't trying to be better than I was. I just wanted to try new things. And YouTube was still pretty new, but it was something that's like, I can share this way easier with people. And I remember kids in junior high were just like, you're on YouTube? Whoa. It's like, you can get on YouTube too. Like, so anybody can start. And, and we're leaving that up. But the thing I deleted was a school project. I just made like a compilation of stuff like behind the scenes of live action Toy Story. And I did it for a school project and I put it up, but I was just embarrassed by it. So not that long. I called it documentory. After like a month or two, I just took it down because it's like the assignment was over and I was embarrassed because I was like, I didn't have. It was me sitting in the car because I didn't want to like talk in front of my roommate. Like I also at first when we first started making Toy Story, I didn't tell anybody. Like I was still going to school. I was still in high school, and I didn't tell anybody until like that summer was coming. And it's like, by the way, I'm working on this thing. It didn't sound cool until it was almost over.
How did they react to that? They'd be like, "Toy Story, isn't that for kids?" No, like
some people might have, but I was just like, I didn't want to tell people, and then like not finish. So it's like I waited until we were. It's like it's for sure it's gonna happen, and then I started telling people.
That's the funny thing too, because as me being a YouTuber for Toy Story and being an adult, you'd be surprised how many adult collectors and fans exist. Because this movie is now over 25 years old. We grew up. We were kids too when the first one came out, in 95. and we grew up, and they're still fans of it. And so that's really cool that, you know, it's like you guys are fellow adult Toy Story fans. So it's just cool because it's kind of like there's a stigma, I think, overall in the general population that's like, well, that's for kids, but it really isn't, because if you look at it, it's made by adults and there's a lot of fans that are adults too. So it's pretty funny. But
that's
anyways,
the sort of thing that we want to make for the world. That's the sort of stuff we want to put out there, is stuff, I'm not saying like something as amazing and, you know, world changing as Toy Story was, but I'm just saying stuff that kids can enjoy and then also continue to enjoy when they're adults. Like
exactly. Yeah, I feel the same way when I approach content. I'm like, I want to relate to the family, you know, and the family unit. Why not? You know, like we already have enough things out there that are, you know, rated X, R, whatever, you know, where it's just like, let's make something family friendly for once. You know, I feel like that's kind of lacking in today's culture and media. So that's really admirable to hear that you guys are approaching that as well. Same. I kind of want to ask this. I don't know. Have you guys ever made a video about how you two met and how you became friends and like what that process was like? You know, because it's always like a fun story. Like I know my best friend that I've known since 8th grade. When I first met him, he was drawing aliens, and I thought it was really weird, and everybody thought it was weird. I came up to him like, "Hey, what are you doing?" "I'm drawing aliens." And then I was just like, "Oh, okay, cool. Let me sit with you and let's talk about aliens," even though I have no interest in aliens. You know, so I just kind of want to hear something like that.
Yeah, find the kid that's drawing aliens, because they're the ones you want to be friends with.
Yeah. To this day, he's actually a graphic design artist, and he did a lot of my band's artwork. So he's a really cool guy.
Yeah.
So that video of us saying where we met is sitting on a hard drive of mine, unedited. We filmed it. We filmed it a couple of years ago.
Wow.
And I don't know. Like, I never even started putting it together. I think we just both said like that didn't really turn out.
Yeah. I think after we were finished,
I thought it was okay.
It was like,
but I don't know.
I don't know. I think that's all, you know, think about it. There's a lot of origin stories out there. There's a lot of, you know, people are always curious about like, what was it like the first time you made a video, right? Or what was it like the first time you collaborated with your best friend, you know? And so I don't know. I just think there's something fun about it. There's something like just childlike about it that will bring everybody like nostalgia about like meeting their friend or their, you know, the person they want to work with. And I don't know. I just thought it'd be a fun thing. So do you guys have a story on it? Like, how'd you guys meet? And like, what was the process like?
Sure. Since we're never going to post that.
Since we're never going to post that, let's put that.
We'll just direct them to
We're going to get a lot of comments later. Post the video.
I know. Well, maybe you can look at it again. Maybe it's not as bad as we remember.
Yeah.
Well, so we met at church. My dad was the pastor, so he started his own church, and then
PK.
Cool. Yeah, I'm on PK.
And then, they have reputations.
Yeah. You pastors kid? Anyway.
No, I wasn't.
And then, so Jonathan's family came maybe like 2 years after we started that church. My best friend and my brother's best friend, both of our best friend, like at the time, he moved away. So Jonathan knew him for a little bit.
They were in the market.
Yeah, so we needed a new friend. There was a tiny bit of overlap as far as like we went to church camp once, and so you knew him. We went to church camp, and I didn't know you really.
Yeah, you ignored me. It tried to suffocate me. With
okay, well, I mean, yeah, not to make the story super long, but like
that's funny.
But yeah, my mom would tell us like, oh, you guys should, hang out with this kid. He also makes.
He's lonely. He needs friends. No, just kidding.
She said that we'd be able to talk about movies because you make movies, and we were like, I don't want to talk to him. But then
looks like a loser.
And then our friend moved away, and then we were looking for someone, and then my family invited you guys over for lunch one day, and so that's where we kind of like met you a little more, and then you showed us some of your old videos. And you were like, I'm not impressed. Here's my old videos. Very vocal about how unimpressed we were.
That's funny.
We were mean, and then I don't know. And then we made you sit and watch all of our stuff.
Yeah, and I thought they were good. I didn't totally love them, but I was also trying to find things wrong because you were talking about how much you didn't like mine. So I was like trying to pick about stuff.
So you guys hated each other first.
I didn't hate him. I didn't want to be his friend. I didn't want to be his friend. And then I don't know, like, was it like the second camping trip that was a little more? Oh well, we went to the same youth group, so I don't know. Eventually, I realized that you were.
I was a fine human being and person that can totally be best friend material. My side of the story is he was a little. He's playing bass up in front of at church. I was like, this guy needs to loosen up a little bit. He's too stiff.
That's so funny.
That was my first impression of Jesse.
That's so funny.
But
so that's great.
Eventually, yeah, like we we did things together because we were in the same group, and then it was like, I need help with this video. Can you do this?
So your parents were actually more friends with each other first than you guys were friends. Basically, it kind of sounded like that. Well, unless
it was a family thing. Like the church was very small, so
everybody just
sort
hung out.
of knew everybody.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so it was just a process. I do remember that lunch though, where our families were having lunch together at your house, and you were showing me those videos.
Nice.
And I was showing you mine.
And they're just totally different from each other, but still kind of wacky.
Yeah, I do remember, and I do remember, I think more of the shifting point was when we were over at your house one time, and then you were showing us some other movies, like your Back to the Future thing, and like, I think you playing with the marionette. There was something, and I was really laughing at one of them.
Nice.
And I think that's where I, was realizing, like, that he does have a good sense of humor. And
nice.
So
it worked out.
And then I helped him with a couple videos, and then one day we intentionally met up together to make something with him and me and my brother.
That's awesome.
And there you go. From there we just
that's beautiful, because it's like, it's honestly what I like to tell people. It's like it's always something awesome about the organic friendship or the organic chemistry that creators can come together and then they just vibe off each other, and then you guys end up creating awesome art together. And I think what you guys have done has been really fun and entertaining, and a lot of people out there agree, and it's been really inspiring to see that these two guys just randomly came together and just made awesome content. So I really appreciate your friendship, because it's really inspired me. I remember watching live action Toy Story and thinking, wow, like, these guys work hard and they're committed. I like that, because that was always who I was. But then I was like, hey, but they can also be on YouTube, and like, this is so cool. So yeah, it was funny, because you guys definitely inspired me along the way to like continue to do stuff that I was doing that I felt probably not confident in at the time, for sure. Because I used to get like, 10, 15 views on a video if I was lucky, you know what I mean, back in the day. And now it's just like, it's just insane. But like, it is a journey. And I'm really thankful that you guys found each other and made awesome content. What was your first video collab you guys did together? Do you guys remember what that was? Is it even out there? Is there, what's that? What was the first video?
My brother and I came and filmed a couple shots with us. You needed some people to fill
in parts. My idea is for a contest that Rhett and Link put on.
Oh, cool.
Do something 80s related. So it's like, I was not around in the 80s, but I know all the movies. So so every segment was a different movie. So the 80s movie tribute, I think it's called, is on YouTube. And that's the first time Jesse rode in on a bike with ET on it, that he rode into the channel.
Is that video still up, or did they take it down for the music or something?
No, I thought it was still up.
Like,
we did not win.
So you didn't win. Okay.
No.
I was gonna ask. Yeah.
The second thing that I was confused with is when we both, just us two, worked on one thing, and it was a stop motion box. Jesse's driving a box instead of a car, and
it's a public safety.
It's like a PSA,
driving a safe vehicle.
Driving, vehicles that aren't boxes.
That's cool.
That was the message you're trying to get.
That's awesome.
And again, it was for like a scholarship thing I was trying to enter, and again didn't win, but we won a friendship. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, that's true. And that's what worked. That's what made YouTube magic happen for JP and Beyond. Well, I think before it used to be called Jonathan Films or something, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it was Jonathan's Movies.
Or Movies, yeah.
Very catchy. I spent a long time thinking about what that should be.
Do you have a T-shirt of that? I'll wear that one.
I do.
Oh, you
I do have
cool.
one
cool.
T-shirt. Well, my cousin made it for me, and I wore it proudly around school.
That's awesome. I want to hear from each of you. What's your favorite thing you ever created, either together or individually, for a video, and why is it your favorite?
My usual answer is, I'll say, Moving Day, short film we made with Billy the puppet. Well, it was all puppets, really. Puppets are my huge passion. The show I want to make would be a puppet show, and Billy would be like one of the main characters. So I was really excited when we finally got to do one with puppets, and it turned out great. And we met a really good friend of ours who's been in other movies, Josh.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it was a fun movie. It came out great. I think it's like one of the funniest ones. And yeah, that one, and also like Office Hours, I think was
Those are both good.
Same reasons. Like it came out great, and it was fun. It was fun working on it, and I'm happy with the final product.
You know what's crazy? I remember both those that you just said, and like the one that I remember from that puppet sketch at the end is just that bird stealing that guy's check at the end. It's just like, now my life is gonna change. Like it's like gone. It's like that was the best ending. And then the Office one, I just remember time is money, time is money. It gets stuck in your head. Like that's so crazy. Like it's so good.
Oh, it works then.
Yeah.
So those two are like probably like my favorites.
Awesome.
Of course, live action Toy Story is always going to have such a big place in my heart.
Right.
Like there's so many more memories that are associated. Like if you just want to talk about
memories.
Live action Toy Story is always going to win as far as just the memories surrounding it.
Right. That's a mega project too.
Yeah, and of course I love I love what it came out. What the finished thing looked like and what it did for our lives.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But if you're asking me as like more of like the writer and the filmmaker and then definitely like the newer stuff we've done.
I love it.
Moving Day and Office Hours.
Yeah. Everything's that we've worked on, there's memories attached to them that are great. Obviously, like live action Toy Story was like we became friends during that time. Really, like before it was just like, okay, yeah, we can hang out. But then it's like, no, like I need you. We need to do this.
Right.
And you got a job, your first job during that time.
Nice.
Yeah.
I
met your wife.
Met my future wife during that time. Like a lot of stuff happened. There's a lot of life change happening during that movie. So that's obviously, like it made the biggest impact.
Right.
As far as outside of that, I often say my favorite short is the Old Man in the Swimming Pool. I think it was the first one that we actually wrote the script. Like like I was saying, that's transition between like let's just do something without even thinking about what the ending is until we start. But I think that one might have been the first one we wrote a script. I don't remember, but it's just Jesse and my sister, and I'm not even in it.
Oh, that's funny.
But I just think it's really funny.
Awesome.
And well shot, even though like we were still using that old camera. Like no, we first switched to the new camera. Anyways, it was a transition time.
Oh, yeah.
That one's one of my favorites. And then just the newer stuff, I think I'm happy with how they're improving each time, and that's what I want to keep doing. So Office Hours was one of those that I had the idea a long time back, and then it's like, okay, I think this competition might be the right time to do it.
Yeah.
So I think.
Well, congratulations on all your success. I've really enjoyed this, and it's just nice to hear that you guys are just like still pumped to make new content. What's your favorite Toy Story character and why? Because I have a lot of fans always asking me. I'm sure they want to hear yours.
Yeah. Good question.
If any of our fans are watching this, they probably already know. Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
right.
They've watched.
Yeah, go Jesse.
Mine is Slinky. I love dogs, and I just love. I just love the way they can, the animators play with his character, and he's just fun.
He's useful. He can.
Yeah, he's so useful.
On top of stuff.
And he's in like the most exciting moment of the entire trilogy. With the
what would they do without the long Slinky?
Yeah.
They would have died.
That moment, I mean, it still gives me like goosebumps watching that moment when he gets all stretched out. It's just so that moment, and just him in general.
I usually say I could put it down to like each movie. I think Buzz is way cooler in Toy Story 2. He's just so cool. And Toy Story 3, like Woody's, like his characters just developed so well that I just really like him in 3, and his scenes are just the best ones, I think. And in 1, it's a toss-up. I like Buzz and Woody both, but as I was a kid, like I played with both of them together. There was no separating them.
It's just Woody and Buzz Lightyear.
And I would act out the scenes as a little kid. I'd play my own scenes out with them. So they're both special to me in different ways.
Love that. Thank you guys for sharing that. And last but not least, what advice can you give to a future YouTuber, a future filmmaker? What's the best advice you could give to somebody starting out into this process?
You're not too young. Like just because you're like in elementary school or whatever, you still could have good ideas. I think I'm sort of trying to show that a little bit in my comic book series that I've been doing. It was like I wrote this, I was like 5th grade, but it still makes me laugh today. So it's like, just because you're young doesn't mean your ideas aren't good or that you can't do it. Like you can find people that want to help. You can find people that are excited about it, and just give it a shot. Like, yeah.
You use whatever you have to your full advantage, and
for sure. Yeah, like that's usually the advice I give is like use what you have. Like don't look at like we need to get the best equipment right now. It's just use what you have. Everybody's cell phone right now
use the phone
way better than the camera we use to make live action Toy Story. Yeah. That's all it's true. Like you have the technology.
Yeah. Things have changed a lot in the last 8 years, right?
10 years. Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything you want to promote to the audience, to all my partners out there? What is something you'd like to promote? Obviously subscribe to JP and Beyond on YouTube. What else would you guys like to promote out there, or how can people get in touch with you, etc.?
So we have a website, jpandbeyond.com. There's contact us there, and we love working with different people. I like meeting people, especially like you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And we do a lot on Patreon. It's like it's not huge happening thing, and it's not like super expensive. Like it's not like we're rolling in the dough or anything, or that we really need your help to do the next thing. We're gonna do stuff regardless of whether we have people helping or not. But Patreon's a cool way to like make us sort of a little bit more elite club of people.
And I'm a Patreon member. I actually go on your game nights. We have
appreciate
fun.
you. Yeah, so we get to play games. When you get to make it, we love having you there.
I know. I'm just like so busy these days. I'm like, oh man, I can't keep missing these. They're so fun. They're a lot of fun. Yeah. So if you want to hang out with JP and Beyond and Today I Grew Up, we do the game nights together on Patreon.
Oh yeah, so, 2 for 1.
You get 2 for 1.
Him too.
I'm a free bonus, you join on, I'll pop in once in a while and say what's up. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for this. I'm just really excited to just connect with you guys and hang out today. And hopefully we can have you on the next video podcast in the future.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, David.
Bye.
It's okay. I didn't say anything I regret.
You want the real Buzz Lightyear? You're an action figure. You are a sad, strange little man. You are a sad, strange little man. You are a child plaything. Hey, Ham, look, I'm Picasso.
I don't get it.